one of my clients, he owns a cigar shop as kind of a side gig.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you gotta come up with a tobacco scent. So I found one, and a cool story that I have with that one, Ellicott and Company, one of the men's stores, I brought a sample to the store manager, and I'm like, just give it a try, see what you think. So he wore it on the night that he proposed to his wife, and his wife said yes. So he's like, we have to get it. I'm like, all right, sold.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's awesome. How's it going, Scott?
Good, man. It's good being back up in Hamburg.
Yeah. So you lived here how long ago? You were here.
Man. It was probably 15, 20 years ago.
That's crazy.
I think. Yeah, it's insane to think it's been that long.
Yeah, and I met you at a maker's market selling Lancaster Beard Company stuff.
Yep.
Before I was even into barbering, and I was like, wow, this stuff's awesome. And a few years later, I ended up getting into barbering. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But this is so cool to have you in the shop when I've been selling your products, doing all that stuff, so this is cool for me.
Yeah.
But
that's so cool.
Yeah. So about your haircut, you're kind of growing your hair out, is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So
trying to grow everything out.
Yeah. So I was thinking about just kind of blending this in so you don't have this like real heavy kind of bowl around here.
Yep.
Kind of maybe lighten up the neck a little bit, but not too much because you want that to pull up in the ponytail sooner than later, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So don't want to touch that too much, but pretty much clean up that and then clean up the beard.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Sweet. So Scott, you are a man of many talents and many side hustles.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you do, what pays the bills, and then what's the fun stuff.
Yeah. So to start off, I work for a company called Eurofins Lancaster Labs. We're one of the largest testing companies in the world. Biopharma, med device, food, environmental, really like all kinds of testing that we do, which is very rewarding working for a company like that, because especially with like everything that happened with COVID and I mean, even just like a lot of the pharmaceutical drugs on the market, my company has been involved with them in different ways, and it's just really rewarding to know that like what we're doing is really like helping make a difference in the world.
For sure.
And helping make a difference in people's lives. But for Eurofins, I do project management work. I'm leading, rolling out a system for our clients to use to submit their samples, the information for them online. So it's been really fun getting to meet and interact with some of our clients, literally from all over the world.
Wow.
I've done a lot of training sessions with clients in North America, but then also all over Europe, Asia, and South America even. So it's been really cool to be able to interact with everyone, and even like learn like a little bit about cultures and everything too in the process.
That is really cool.
So that's the day job. That's what pays the bills.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing about it too is my wife and I actually work together.
Oh, so, that is really cool. Did you meet in that atmosphere?
In the atmosphere, but at a different job.
Cool. Yeah.
So to kind of go back a little bit further, we worked actually when I worked in Hamburg but didn't live in Hamburg.
Okay.
At a place that was kind of just up the hill from here called Jetson Direct Mail.
Okay.
And so her company, Transcontinental Direct, actually bought my company out.
Gotcha.
And I was part of the team that moved from up here in Hamburg down to Warminster to bring some of our processes down there. So I happened to meet her down there, and we just became friends for 10 years.
Wow.
And as she was married, I eventually got married, and she was actually in my wedding.
Oh, shoot.
On my side even. So I had like dude, and then my wife V, and then two other dudes. And we stayed friends, although we were kind of forced to drift apart a little bit, but eventually we both went through divorces and randomly reconnected when she sent me I think her account got hacked, and I got a spam email from her.
Oh,
and so I wrote her back. I'm like, hey, I think you got hacked, and
yeah.
she just responded, oh, I'm sorry. And I just wrote her a long email about, like, I'm so sorry that we drifted apart, and just explained everything. And her response was just, will you shut up and can we just go back to being friends how we were?
Wow.
So
that's cool.
Within a couple of weeks, we met up. I was shooting a bike race down in the Philly area, and we met up at a Wegmans and talked for like 4 hours. And
Nice.
just reconnected, and we actually just had our 8-year anniversary back on May 18th. So
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. So yeah, it's kind of come full circle, because then she ended up getting the job at Eurofins while I was working somewhere else, and then I was just looking for something that was a little bit more fulfilling in life, and made the move to Eurofins. So it all worked out really well in the end. But,
yeah.
So that's kind of, this is a bit of the history of the day job side of things. But then I also I'm a group fitness instructor teaching a couple different cycling formats. One called Les Mills The Trip, that we have a 35-foot curved screen, so it's not only just a physical experience, but it's also an immersive experience.
That sounds amazing.
Amazing videos, great music, great workouts. That's all created by Les Mills in New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
And we're one of maybe, like, I think at this point maybe like 200 studios in the world that has the immersive trip. So it's really cool to be, like, you know, one of those few studios
for sure.
to have it.
I can imagine.
Then I also teach a 30-minute HIIT class called Sprint, which is a mix of speed, endurance, and power. Just short, hard efforts with short breaks in between. And it's a really challenging workout, but it's only a half an hour. You just get it in, get it done, and it's another thing that's been very fulfilling in life, with being able to like, make the connections with my students and watch them grow, and watch their fitness levels improve, and just watch the happiness that they have while we're, you know, doing the class and everything. So
and how did you get involved with teaching?
My wife V, she's been a group fitness instructor for probably at least 10 years, probably even more than that. Actually, no, probably more, like getting close to 15.
Wow.
And I never wanted to go to the gym. I just wanted to ride my bike. I didn't want to do classes. And when after we got married and she moved to the Lancaster area, I used to go and take some of her Les Mills RPM classes. And they were okay, but really, I mean, I was there to support her. Yeah. And then she ended up getting in at I Am Limitless. They recruited her to come there, and she got trained in the trip. And so I started taking her class there, and I was like, okay, this is something I could do. Like, I felt like I was riding outside. We had high-end Stages bikes, which were amazing. Yeah. And then just through being on Reebok's email list, because Reebok was the clothing provider for Les Mills. Okay. They happened to send an email out offering a free Les Mills certification for the first, like, I don't even know how many people that would respond, but you had to just, like, hurry up and respond, and somehow I got one. And I was like, shoot. All right, you know, what the heck? I'll try. Why not? I'll try the trip and see how it goes. And after the training, I was hooked. Like, it was such a cool experience to go through the training. I learned so much about not only, like, the fitness aspect, but even just, you know, coaching, making connections with people. Like, it was very much worth it, even if it was free. Yeah, for sure. And ever since then, I've been hooked, and I went from teaching like a couple classes a week to now teaching. I think I'm at 5. I was at 6 at one point, but yeah, it's something I never thought I was ever going to do in my life. But just by, taking the chance on it and, trying the experience of it, it was really fun. And found something that I didn't even know I was good at.
Yeah,
really.
Dude, that's so cool. I think there's just something about taking that chance to fail, like quitting the opportunity to fail, that is always so rewarding. Even when you do kind of fail.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're like, well, at least I learned something. It was cool. That's kind of how I look at things.
Yeah, I mean, even like every single class I teach, like there's always the possibility for failure. I could have an absolute mental block on what the next block of the workout is. I could say the wrong thing. I could have a cramp. Something could happen, and sometimes it's out of your control. Like I was teaching a class, and all of a sudden, I was almost done. We were like in the cool down, and all of a sudden the screen went blank.
Oh man!
And it was technology, but it is what it is. But every class, like I'm my worst critic. Like I always see, like I messed this part up. I got the choreography wrong. I said the wrong thing here. But for me, it's like you said, it's a learning experience that I'll like if I mess something up, chances are I'm gonna learn from that, and next time I teach that release, I'm not gonna mess it up that time.
Yeah. And the way, I mean, with that kind of stuff with Lancaster Beard Company, you seem to be a guy that you get through a lot of things, but you almost set yourself up for failure. You take the things that are pretty hard to do, but you push through it and really have been successful in all these different areas. Would you say that kind of fuels you, or what would you say kind of fuels your motivation to like try different things?
I mean, with LBC, it's really like everything's come out of necessity. Every product that we've created was actually something that I needed.
Gotcha.
The beard balm I created because I wanted a better product. The soap I created because I wanted something that was as organic as possible, that really fit with what I was trying to do. The pomade because I had really, really long hair on the top and everything was shaved on the side, and my wife said I should cut it and grow it out. So I needed a product, so I created the pomade. People were using our peppermint beard balm as a lip balm, so I made a lip balm. Everything that we've done has come out of necessity for either something I needed or something someone else needed, and the whole process has always been trial and error. I'm not a barber, so I don't know a lot of the ins and outs of hair and beard, other than what's on my face and head. But I've taken it's always been about finding what I feel works for me, and then taking feedback from everyone else and doing little tweaks about it.
That's awesome. Just kind of dried your hair.
Yep.
Do you need your glasses? Do you see?
I can see.
So I didn't do too much, but just kind of took off a little bit of that helmet look.
Yep.
That looking pretty good for you?
Yep, that looks good.
Sweet. And what are you thinking for the beard?
Just kind of trim it up, shape it up a little bit. If you wanted to take a little bit of the length off the bottom, because I feel like it's starting to get to the point that it's almost ready to start to like flip out on me.
Yeah, I hate that.
So if you wanted to just bring it up a little bit and then kind of give it a little shape and then clean the mustache up, that should be good.
Yeah, and I know you like to kind of keep it chiseled in at the chin, kind of more like this shape than like the boxy look.
Yep.
So just kind of mostly that look, cleaning up those corners, and sounds good. And then do you like the sideburns tapered in here? Like, do you like this tapered down, or keep this?
You can taper it in a little bit, yeah.
Sweet. And for your hair, do you want these little hairs to grow out, or do you want this kind of sideburn area tapered in as well?
You can kind of taper that in too, because I think ultimately I'm actually going to do like just like a subtle undercut, like all around the back and the sides, and then just have everything nice and long on the top.
Yeah, sweet. Perfect.
So
you're kind of talking about how everything was kind of birthed out of necessity.
Yeah.
And
So the other part of it too, because you were asking about like, like kind of like the things that motivate me with it. Honestly, it's just hearing like the feedback from people about like how much, they've enjoyed it, how much, how it like works for them. But then, I mean, also like even hearing like, the things that I need to work on, the criticism too, like it just fuels me to make a better product then. But being able to like, especially like going to like the makers markets and, meeting our customers in person, or even, seeing their social media posts or getting emails from them or whatever, like all that is just kind of like really like what keeps me doing it, is because, I see the enjoyment that they're getting out of it and how meaningful it is for them. And it just, I don't know, makes me happy.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Because I'm sure it'd be easy enough for you to say, hey, we're just going to hang up Lancaster Beard Company. I make enough money with these other things. I'm busy enough with this other stuff.
Yeah.
But, this is a lot of work. I'll just make it for myself. But it's cool what I'm always encouraged by is just your passion behind what you do. And that's why I think it comes through so well in your product. Like you make selling Lancaster Beard Company products so easy because it's just a great product. And I tell people, like, I was using this before I was a barber, before I was trying to find something to sell. Like, this is just good stuff that it feels good. And whenever I try to explain it to people before I put it in their beard, you can tell they're like a little bit hesitant, that they're like, okay, can it really be that good?
Yeah.
But then I put it in, they're like, whoa, this is the best stuff ever. Yeah. And I think, it comes through that you care so much because, it's a product that, I'll sell it to everybody. The thing, my always sales pitch on it is that it has that, the nice hold, but it doesn't feel super thick or super greasy.
Yeah.
It's not super oily, but it moisturizes still. And it, just the fact that it's organic, you're not getting junk all in your face and your pores and all that kind of crazy stuff. And they just have so many good scents that just smell amazing. So like some people, you'll give them like the vanilla bourbon and they'll be like, oh, I love that. And then next person will be like, maybe not that one. Then you give them like the mint julep and they're like, oh, that's amazing. And they're hooked on it. Then you came out with like the Pennsylvania tobacco one. And a couple people are like, I don't know. That kind of reminds me of this thing. But then other people are like, oh, that reminds me of this. I love that. And so it's cool that you put the artistry even into scents as well. Tell me a little bit, because I like the story behind the Carmel Brulee one, kind of how you came up with that one.
So, we've been a staple of the Creatively Lancaster Makers Markets in like the city of Lancaster for years now. They were our first market that we did, and just every time I would always be at like one of their holiday markets, I always found myself near the Stroopy stand, the Lancaster Sweet Shop. And they just make these amazing Stroop waffles that are just...
It's so good.
It's like, it's just a super thin waffle that they basically like cut it in half, like thickness-wise. And then they fill it with a caramel sauce on the inside. And it's just so good. It
is amazing.
I use them like when I do like my long rides, like the American Cancer Society ride that I'm doing next weekend. I'm going to be on the bike for like 8 hours.
Shoot.
7 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have a little bag on my bike that's going to have like a snack bag of, cut up Stroopies in there that I can just grab one whenever I need it.
That's great.
That's a lot of what I'll eat on the bike. But they're just so good. And I would always smell that caramel sauce. And it just made me want a Stroopy so bad.
Yeah.
So, so I just kind of experimented to try to figure out how to like try to recreate that scent. And we first brought it out as a holiday scent, and I wasn't sure if people were gonna like it or not. And actually, especially guys, like, because it's a sweet scent.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know if that was something like, is a guy really gonna want to smell like caramel? And surprisingly, it sold really well. I think we were about 50-50 on women buying it as like a hand lotion and men buying it for their beards. But there's a shop out in Washington State that we sell to that's all they buy is just 2-ounce tins of Carmel Brulee.
Wow, that's wild.
So yeah, it still kind of blows my mind that it has actually taken off and sold as well as it did. But it's definitely one of our favorite scents. The tobacco one, one of my clients, he owns a cigar shop as kind of a side gig.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you gotta come up with a tobacco scent. So I found one, and it was a little bit more pipe tobacco than a straight tobacco, because it has like a little bit of spiciness to it.
Yeah. But
every time I smell it, it reminds me of when I was a kid growing up. One of my friends down the street, his dad smoked a pipe. And I used to love going to his house and just smelling that pipe tobacco scent. So that one, it's kind of hit or miss. Like some people, like you were saying, some people love it, some people not so much. But a cool story that I have with that one, Ellicott and Company, one of the men's stores in the Lancaster, they picked it up, and before they did, I brought a sample to the store manager, and I'm like, just give it a try, see what you think. If you like it, let them know, and maybe they'll consider ordering some. So he wore it on the night that he proposed to his wife, and his wife said yes. So he's like, we have to get it. I'm like, all right, sold.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Oh, that's super fun.
But I always love hearing like those kinds of stories about how like our products weren't like his fiance, she was going to say yes to him no matter what.
Yeah.
But just hearing like how our products have been like involved with people's lives. Like another one of our clients, she has a dog named Fozzie, and she was buying the balm for her husband. And I'm not sure what kind of a dog Fozzie is, but she's got like a bit of a beard.
Yeah.
And she loves sticking her head out the window when they go in car rides, and her beard and her mustache would just get all over the place.
That's funny.
So she tried it, and Fozzie absolutely loves our product.
That's great.
And it looks great. Like it just kind of tames the dog's beard and everything, and it looks awesome. And so then like the one time she actually brought Fozzie in, and I gave her her own little tin of I think it was vanilla bourbon. And it was just hearing those kinds of stories. It's so cool.
That is fun.
Our products have been all over the world. One of my friends took it to Belgium with him when he was going to watch a big bike race there. Another customer and friend from Australia, I shipped it to Australia, and then he took it with him when he did a bike packing trip from Italy through France and into the UK. So I had pictures all throughout there, and even during the Tour de France, one of our ambassadors, he at the time was racing for Total Energy. I can't remember what their team name was at the time, but he races for Total Energy, Jeff Soup, and he's got big, beautiful black beard, and he, how many times he was on the front, like during like TV sessions, and the commentators actually even said something about like how noticeable he is because of his beard, and I'm like, yes, that's our guy.
That's so cool. And he has on his shirt, right?
He doesn't have it on the team kits. Okay. Because they're like, you could basically, like in baseball terms, think of them as being like a AAA team.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's a little bit different from baseball that they can still go and do like some of the big races if they get invites to it. But they're just not at like the absolute highest level. Yeah. The pro tour.
Yeah, but I know he always reps your stuff at least. Yep. He's always talking about it.
Yep, him and then his father-in-law, Philippe, who's an ultra-distance runner.
Okay.
Philippe, he's posting all the time, and I love it. I love seeing it.
That's so fun.
But, yeah.
So we're kind of getting to finish up your beard, and we're gonna kind of take this conversation over to the chairs.
Yep, that works.
So Scott, finished up your haircut, a little different format from the other ones, but I wanted to hear and kind of share kind of the origins of Lancaster Beard Company. So why don't you give us a little backstory of how it started, where it came from?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. I've had my beard for actually probably getting close to about 10 years now. Okay. And there was different products that I was using that they're great products. Mm-hmm. And they worked really well for me, and we happened to be at a trade show in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And I met with this company that makes insanely expensive carbon fiber wheels, and they were doing a clothing line for their clients. Uh-huh. And they were using chemical-free dyes on it because they were mentioning how when you sweat, your pores open up to let the sweat out, but it can also let chemicals in, which that really got me thinking about how, like, my wife and I eat organic. We try to eat healthy with all the activities and everything that we do. And it got me thinking about, like, different products I was using. So I was looking at the ingredients list, and there were some things on there that just, they might not have been bad things, but they were things that I couldn't really pronounce. Mm-hmm. So it was one of those things that it was just like, okay. And I tried a whole bunch of different organic products out there, and it just never was quite right. It was either too heavy, too thick, too sticky. It wouldn't wash out, smell, whatever. Mm-hmm. And my wife was like, well, try making your own. It can't be that hard. Yeah. And so I started off, I just found like a DIY, how to create or how to make beard balm on the internet, tried making it, and it was way too much coconut oil. So like even just sitting on the kitchen or the dining or the bathroom sink, it would just liquefy. And it was oily, and it just wasn't right. Yeah. So it took about 6 months of trial and error, making more batches than what I can really remember. Mm-hmm. But it was always about just taking the same basic ingredients and just finding the right blend of it. Yeah. During that time, I was doing some research on the ingredients to see like what the benefits are, and making sure that I was putting things into it that was really going to help with moisturizing. Not only the beard, but also the skin, so that you don't get like the itchy, flaky beard. Mm-hmm. But then, finding even some of the oils that will really help nourish the skin and the facial hair too. So I finally created a blend that really worked for me, and I was just making it for myself. And at the time, the barbershop I was going to, the barber next to my barber had a beard, and he's like, "Oh, bring some in. I'd love to try it." Mm-hmm. And so I gave him a sample, and then like a month later I came back in. He's like, "Dude, you need to get me more of this. This is one of the best products I've ever used." And
that's so cool.
Like, wow. Okay. So I never even thought about starting a company. Mm-hmm. And it just, from what he said, and then, getting some product to him, getting some to some friends, it just kind of took off from there. And we started off kind of slow. I didn't want to go like all in and invest a ton of money and then for it to go nowhere. So we just started off with like an Etsy page, started doing makers markets locally in Lancaster, and it just kept building and building and building. And we were actually profitable within our first year, which was insane. Yeah. So then right before COVID hit, we had already started to branch out to other scents. We started working with a local soap maker to make our soaps. And we started our website finally, LancasterBeardCompany.com. And then COVID hit, and I had no idea what was going to happen. We couldn't do makers markets, barbers weren't open. Mm-hmm. But I also kind of knew that actually could be a good thing in a way, because people were potentially going to be growing beards, and they needed something to take care of it and to take care of the skin. And in the end, business continued to keep growing all during COVID and after COVID, and it just continues to grow. We've added new products. We created the lip balm because people were using our beard balm as a lip balm anyways, so we tweaked the blend, made it a little bit more waxy, a little bit less coconut oil. Mm-hmm. I created the pomade because I cut my hair, and I had really short, or it was shaved on the sides, was super long. Yeah. Then we my wife wanted me to grow everything out, so I chopped the top, and then I've been slowly growing everything else back out again. And I needed a pomade, so I made a pomade. One of our ambassadors has an amazing mustache, so I made mustache wax for him.
Nice.
And it's just continue to keep growing from there. And next up, our tattoo balm that I've been talking about for a very long time, that should be coming out this summer.
That's fun.
So, yeah, that's kind of just where we've gone.
Yeah, that's super cool. So just kind of wrapping up everything, something that I've already said that inspires me about you is you're always trying new things and pushing new boundaries. Mm-hmm. What would you say to a young person or someone who's got an idea that they're just like, maybe they don't have people around them that are really encouraging them to do that thing, or maybe they just don't have the courage in themselves? What would you kind of encourage them in that?
I mean, really just try it. Give it a try. Start off small. Don't feel like you have to like throw your entire life into something new that you want to try, but just try it on a small scale and see what you think. And if you enjoy what you're doing and other people enjoy what you're doing with it and it seems to be working, then just continually to just keep growing from there and just grow inch by inch. The last thing that you really want to do is force something and force growing too quickly, because when you do that, that's when you can lose sight of what you're trying to do and lose control of a lot of things. That's really like why we've continued to grow how we are, because we've had people that have been interested in becoming investors with us or wanting to take over different parts of the business. And I've hesitated with it just because, I mean, partially I want to keep control of everything, but I don't want it to grow into something that really starts to feel like too overwhelming, because with having a full-time job, with being a group fitness instructor, with writing for Bike World News and my own personal cycling and everything, I don't have a ton of time. So if it all of a sudden just insanely jumps and builds quickly because of some outside factors, like then that's when you can lose control of like maybe how you're creating your product and the quality of it or anything like that. So just start small, test it, and try to build from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.